y'all, kid Jerome here. I'm working my way through 1001 albums you must hear before you die, and the 25th one is Nilsson Schmilsson. Nilsson Schmilsson is the 7th album by Los Angeles-based singer-songwriter Harry Nilsson, released November of 1971. It's hard to pin down exactly what Nilsson Schmilsson is, exactly what genre it belongs to, because what makes the album so great is its wide musical palette. It draws inspiration from plenty of different genres. Coconut is a Caribbean song. I mean, everyone knows this one. Once you hear it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Let the Good Times Roll is a classic rock and roll standard. The Moonbeam song is this acoustic psychedelic rock song. I mean, you can tell this guy's very well researched in the world of music, and he wears his influences on his sleeve. You can really hear everything come through in each song. This wide musical palette gives way to a very wide emotional palette as well. Down makes you want to break every single plate in your kitchen and just go crazy. Without You makes you want to call her back. Coconut makes you want to get drunk. I mean, there's a lot going on here. I really appreciate that he's able to express himself in so many different ways. There's so many different sounds on this album, and it's really just a fun adventure through music, through what music is capable of, through what Harry's capable of. The instrumentals are often very simple despite the album's reliance on synthesizers. This was 1971, about 10 years before the big synthesizer boom, before people started to really stretch the limits of what that instrument could do. So a lot of it's very stripped back. On Early in the Morning, there's only two sounds, piano and Harry's voice. There's very little going on here, but there's so much emotion in the song. Jump Into the Fire has more of a traditional rock band sound. The lineup is really crunchy bass, some overdriven yet underpronounced guitars, some rock drums, piano, vocals, and that's about it. Very simple stuff. Everything that you need for a full band sound without any fluff, right? The song closes with this absolutely monstrous drum solo, just this really big, loud, dramatic solo. It starts a little bit quieter though, and then it's joined by these rapid bass notes that really pick up the tension that drive the song forward. Shortly after that, these creeping rhythm guitars start to blend in, really bringing the song to its high point, right? And then once the tambourine hits, you're there. It's back. Everything's back. We lost all of our energy at the beginning of the solo, and then we doubled it by the end. And once you get to the climax, you can really feel it. You can really feel all the emotion that he was going for, that he was trying to make you feel. This was a very well-executed song. It accomplished everything it set out to. It stuck the landing when the landing was hard to stick, and only a musician of Harry Nilsson's caliber is capable of writing a song like this. It takes very expert musician to pull all these different sounds together and make it sound so well polished. I'll Never Leave You is a very romantic song. It really tugs on your heartstrings. The soft rhythmic piano chords leave a lot of space, and what fills the space are these beautiful harmonies from Harry Nilsson and these absolutely just heart-wrenching strings, gorgeous strings, transcendent strings that really take you to this beautiful emotional climax. A lot of, if not all of these songs sound like live recordings. You could easily chalk it up to just being 1971 and there being technological constraints, but he was playing on a synthesizer. And before he was a musician, Harry Nilsson was a computer programmer for a bank. So I feel like he definitely knew how to record digitally. I feel like that was definitely within his wheelhouse, but it was a very specific choice not to. And I could tell he recorded it live because you can hear the key presses under the synthesizer on Early in the Morning. I mean, it's very obvious, right? You can hear this ambient hiss of the room around him on every single song, especially during the quieter moments. It was a distinct creative choice to record live, and it really added more character to every song. You can feel the soul in the room. You can tell he performed them live, so that was impressive in its own right. This guy can really play some piano. This guy can really sing. It definitely peeled away sort of the glitz and glam that recording digitally would have added to the album and gave us this more human, this more real feel to it that very, very much so benefited the sound of the album. The songs are very distinct and catchy. Gotta Get Up has these jaunty piano chords, this Randy Newman-esque voice, these drunk-sounding horns. The Moonbeam song has these slow sort of campfire chords that really draw you in, right? And then Coconut's Hook has this absolute stranglehold on the American public conscious. We've all sang this song before. It's just really impressive how he's able to take this wide palette of influences, how he's able to take all these different genres and just make the catchiest songs you've ever heard every single time. This guy was a master at writing pop hits. He was an absolute juggernaut at making earworms, and I really found it surprising how many songs stuck out to me after I heard the album. I was really just singing them all day. It's very infectious stuff. Nilsson's vocals are incredible, much better than I was expecting. He has a 3.5 octave range, so his high notes are very far away from his low notes. There's nowhere he really can't go. He predominantly lives in the higher register, but he's not afraid to branch out of it in any stretch of the imagination. There's a very strong use of close harmonies on this album. Very frequently, he's harmonizing with himself, overdubbing his vocals on top of each other. The harmonies are close in the sense that they're within the same octave. They're very similar sonically. Sometimes you'll have these very wide harmonies, these very open harmonies where you're having maybe a tenor sing on top of a bass and they're octaves apart. But Harry is really keeping it close to center on this and just making this more textured, wide sound like you'd hear on Sgt. Pepper's by the Beatles. It's all over that album. It's all over this album. There's some very impressive moments with his delivery. Down has this very high energy chorus and this well you gotta have intro. It's very intense. On Without You, we have this absolutely just heartbreaking belting towards the end. You feel like he's really crying out. And on Jump Into the Fire, we have him singing just like at the top of his lungs for the majority of the song. This is a very intense rock song. Very high energy, and he delivered. He absolutely delivered. It would be out of a lot of singers' wheelhouses, but not a singer like Harry. He can do a lot. Nilsson Schmilsson is a love letter to music. Harry Nilsson is a very proficient musician, a very well-researched one, and you can hear his influences bleed through on every single track. Every track takes you somewhere different, and Nilsson is the perfect tour guide. Some songs that really stuck out to me were Without You, Down, and Jump Into the Fire. I would recommend this album to producers, composers, and music nerds. I'm going to have to give this album a very solid 8 out of 10. Infectious. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you thought about the album in the comments below. Go ahead and leave a like if you appreciate anything I had to say. Go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss my next video where I'm going to be reviewing I Am a Bird Now by Anthony and the Johnsons. So until then, peace.